Today I'm going to share with you how to sew a fully lined tote bag made out of cotton canvas and then quilter's cotton as the lining. But the cool thing about it is this canvas was actually very economical because it was made with a drop cloth that you can buy at the hardware store very inexpensively. This drop cloth came from Harbor Freight. It's 4 feet by 12 feet and costs less than $8. For materials, I'm using 2 pieces of the outer fabric. This is the canvas, 13 inches by 15 inches tall. 2 pieces of the lining fabric. I'm using quilter's cotton, 13 inches by 15 inches tall. 2 pieces of your interfacing, also 13 inches by 15 inches tall. And 2 pieces of cotton webbing, and these are 24 inches long. Follow the instructions on your interfacing to fuse it to the wrong side of your outer tote fabric. If you're going to embroider one or both sides of the outside of the tote, now's the time to do that. The next step will be to cut out the gusset. You'll need to do this on both the outer and the lining fabrics. So what I'd like to do is just line up both of my outer fabrics. And I make a little template. This is 1.5 inches square. You can make it a little bit bigger if you'd like to make it 2 inches. This is just what I'm doing. You'll take it to the bottom corner, so make sure if you've got a design or something embroidered, or if there's a pattern on the outside of your fabric, that it's facing the right direction. And you'll put it down here, and you're going to cut out around this square. You'll do the same thing for both pieces of your lining fabric. If your lining fabric is directional, make sure you're cutting out at the bottom. You'll take your lining fabric, put it right sides together. Do the same thing for your outer fabric of your tote, put it right sides together. And you can pin or clip it in a few places. And next we're going to take it to the machine and sew it. And what you'll be sewing is down 3 sides. So one side, then across the bottom, and across the other side with a straight stitch and a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You'll do that for both the outer fabric, and you'll do the same thing for the lining. Remember, right sides together. Now that you have both the outer and the lining sewn down 3 sides, you're going to take this piece that is open in the corner and flatten it out so that you're matching the side seam with the bottom seam. So you're going to take it, kind of wrestle it out. You'll open up the seam allowance on both the side and the bottom to match. And then you'll take a clip and match that up. And we're going to do this on all 4 of them. So you'll do these 2 on the outer, and then you'll do the same thing on the lining fabric, and you'll take it to the sewing machine and sew it with a 1/4 inch seam allowance right across here. This is what the finished corner will look like, and if you have a little bit too much bulk, you can take it down by trimming it, just as long as you don't trim over the seams. Okay, now that you've got your lining completely sewn and your outer fabric completely sewn, it's time to attach the straps. We're going to, this is the outer part of the bag. From the edge, we're going to measure in about 3 inches. So it's 1, 2, 3 inches on my mat. And I'm going to make a mark. And then I'm going to do the other side. So I'll come in 1, 2, 3 inches, make a mark. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. What you'll do is you'll take your strap, and I'm going to place it inside the bag, but I'm going to line up the outer edge of my strap to this line on the inside of the bag. You want to make sure that your strap doesn't get all twisted up when you do this. So I'm going to put it inside the bag and clip it. I'm going to do the other side. And then we're going to take it to the sewing machine after we've got both straps put on. And I'm going to zigzag back and forth a couple of times right here just to make sure that these straps stay on good. Okay, I'll take this to the machine after I do the other side and we'll be right back. Okay, your straps are now held in place with a zigzag stitch that'll hold really well. Take your lining fabric, turn it right side out, but leave your outer fabric inside out. Okay, and poke out your little corners. Then take your lining and put it inside the bag. So now you have right sides together. And you're going to line up your seams. So I've got the seam from the side of the lining matched up with the seam on the outside of the bag, and I'm going to clip it. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Make sure these seams line up. And we will clip it. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go around and do the same thing, but you need to leave a turning section. So I'm going to do that on the back side of the bag. So I've got the embroidery on this side. So right now, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and mark the inside area. I'm going to do it between the two straps. Just maybe, let's see, how much is that? Probably about 3 inches. I'm going to mark this with my pen so I remember not to sew over this area. So this area right here, when I'm going all the way around and attaching and sewing, I'm not going to sew here because that's what I'm going to use to turn. Make sure you leave enough room to be able to get your hand in there, at least a few fingers, so you can turn it inside out. So we'll continue going around the rest of it though and clip it. Clip your lining. Now that you've got the edges lined up, that's the most important thing. So clip your lining. Except for the section that you're not going to sew, which is that middle section. Start over here, go all the way around, turn the corner, keep going around and around and around and around here till I get to this pin. I'm going to stitch back and forth at the beginning and the end so that this will hold, and then I'm going to turn inside out. Okay, so my bag is now sewn together. I can remove these 2 pins that reminded me not to sew over this one area. And I'm going to reach in and we're going to turn this whole thing inside out. So first we're going to start with the lining. And you'll also pull the whole bag back through the same hole. Okay, once you get this all turned inside out or outside out, and we're going to take it to the ironing board and we're going to press it. So we're going to press the edges all the way down, and when we're doing that, we're going to tuck in this open area. We'll tuck in the lining and the top part of the bag, and after we've ironed it down, we're going to take it and top stitch it on the sewing machine. So let me go press this real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll top stitch all the way around this bag, and that will close up the hole. This bag's looking a lot better now that it's been pressed, and as you can see, I've got the raw edges turned in and folded in. So the next step is to take it back to the machine one last time. We're going to do a top stitch all the way around this bag, and when we do that and come to this back part, it's going to close up this hole and you won't even know it's there. And now we're done with our tote. Fully lined, ready to go. You can use it for trick-or-treating, grocery shopping, farmer's market, library, or anything that you need a tote bag for. Now that you know, get stitching.